Hey, welcome back to the Experience Share. My name is Blake, and today we're doing a deck breakdown and gameplay video for the Druid deck. And so give you a quick overview, Druid is one of the new avatars from Arthurian Legends that has a really cool ability because it's able to flip, and so it has player draw a site. If you play the site and you don't control a Tani, you may summon one here. A Tani is a 1/1 bird owl with a spellcaster and flying. And there's some pretty cool combos we'll talk about later in the deck. And then Druid, if you flip it, the other ability is that you may summon a Bruin and then flip this card. And Bruin is a 4/4 bear that has the same ability as Royal Bodyguard and will be able to take damage for you if you're a Druid. And this can combo off with some other cards in the deck that we'll talk about here in a second. But I think Druid's a really good deck. I don't know if the perfect list has been found for it yet, but this is the Druid Beast deck that I am currently playing, and I'm playing it with Air Water. And to talk about why, we're going to start with Sylvan Splendor. And Sylvan Splendor has, whenever you cast a beast or a fairy to an effective site, draw a card. And then if an affected site is successfully attacked, then it is dispelled. But you're really actually just playing this so you can play a whole bunch of 1/1s and a Hamlet to be able to draw through your deck. Atlantean Fate, just really good being in water. This turns out to be a control deck with kind of a combo finish on there. And so Philosopher's Stone, because we're playing so many different, the two different thresholds, Ring of Morgan, casting so many spells, and you're able to ping your own minions to be able to gain a life. And that can be really strong to help you stay alive. Manuscript can be really good if you have a lot of minions around, or if you give them charge, they can tap right away, and you can give them charge with the Horn of Carrion, and it has nearby minions have charge. But Drums of Doom is really what makes Druid, I think, stronger than most other avatars right now. Drums of Doom says damage dealt to minions nearby is lethal. And when you flip the Druid, it has whenever an enemy enters a nearby site, it takes 1 damage. So if you have a Drums of Doom being held or at the same location as a Druid, it will actually deal lethal damage. And that is really strong because it's a one-sided board wipe if they ever get close to your Druid. And then it's a whole bunch of 1/1s that we can play. Not a ton to call out here. Just a few things that I'll mention is that, like, the Sly Fox is good to get down early. It starts chipping away for 1 damage, hard to remove because you get stealth at the end of every turn. And the Thieving Magpie can steal artifacts from your opponent, like a Philosopher's Stone or things along those lines. But because we don't want to only be playing 1/1s, Sir Tom, this is actually not immortal. This is a fairy and triggers off of the Sylvan Splendor. And can be a really good card to play. It's only 2 mana, you get it back all the time. You can play it for defensive, and so when your opponent plays a minion and tries to attack you, you can just actually block with Sir Tom Thumb and then play it back down the following turn. Because we do want to go ahead and get aggressive sometimes, we are playing the Lugbog Cat, because it is a 3/4 and you can cast it on your opponent's water sites as well, but you're playing a lot of water sites ourselves, and so we can typically play this and go ahead and get aggressive and start attacking for 4 for our opponent, causing them and making them want to remove it. One thing that's cool that you can do is kind of a surprise alpha strike with something like a Ruler of Thule. If you have a whole bunch of these 1 mana minions down, Ruler of Thule, you go in and you can have a huge strike for a ton of damage, and so that's why Ruler of Thule makes the cut here. Now, Browse is really good because it helps you find your Sylvan Splendor, because that's kind of what we're digging for. And a cool card that we get to play because of Druid and Tani being a spellcaster is we can play Dream Quest and put the Tani to sleep and then go search our deck for a card named basically Sylvan Splendor. If we have Sylvan Splendor, we can grab Drums of Doom. And that's really what Quest and Browse and Dream Quest are for, is to find either Drums of Doom or to find Sylvan Splendor. Plague of Frogs, really good. Summon 7 frog tokens. It combos great with Manuscript, as well as gives you a lot of blockers that your opponent has to chew through. And because it says summon 7 frog tokens, you don't have to summon them to the same site. which was something that I did not realize whenever I first played. So where can you summon them? You can summon each of them to wherever location will cause the maximum annoyance for your opponent, aka anywhere, even on your opponent's side of the board if you wanted to. So Plague of Frogs, really cool card here. You don't have to just cast them in the same location. However, one thing I misread is that it says summon 7 frogs. Sylvan Splinter says whenever you cast a beast or and so you're not going to be able to cast the Plague of Frogs. You're summoning the frogs, you're not casting the frogs, and so they're not going to trigger the Sylvan Splendor. Beast for Crows. This is one that I'm just testing out. If you have the threshold to be able to play it, should you just go ahead and play it? Can you go ahead and get rid of the Candleless Monks, get rid of some Grey Wolves, you know, get rid of whatever you feel like will be the most annoying thing for your deck to deal with out of your opponent's deck. And so we're trying out the Feast of Crows here. I don't know if it has to make the cut, or if you don't have it, I don't think this is necessary. However, I would be playing Browse and Dream Quest. Sites, we're playing a lot of kind of control sites, ramp sites, Babbling Brook here, kind of like a Quagsmire for water, really strong. But the only site that I really want to call, maybe, you know what, maybe 2. Let's call out Bower of Bliss. We are playing a ton of beasts in this deck. Actually, I think the only mortal is the Ruler of Thule. And so Bower of Bliss can really just devastate our opponent's decks. And Bower of Bliss, really strong card here that I wish it said nearby, but it says mortals in the realm are beasts and are silenced. So that's everybody. So Bower of Bliss, really strong at turning off basically all of Death Speaker, all of Knights. Bower, really good one-of card here for the being thresholdless. But then it's Hamlet. Because we're playing so many ordinary one-drop minions, Hamlet basically just comes down and you're able to cast these for free, cycling through your deck, drawing a lot of cards. And then if you have something like Horn down, then you can use Manuscript. And you just go ahead and you start chipping away and attacking with these 1 and 2 power minions. That can be really hard for your opponent to be able to deal with. But that's enough of the deck. Let's go ahead and get into some gameplay commentary. All right, and starting off here, we are playing against a Flamecaller deck. A Flamecaller with a Water Splash. We'll have to see here. We're playing our own water. Looking at our science, we have Color Out of Space. That's great. Able to cast or grab a Tawny, which is a really cool card to see here. It cannot defend, but it can start doing some chip damage in for us. Hamlet out early feels good. Now we can start casting our minions for free. Okay. And we cast a couple of 1-drops, and we can go ahead, start getting in and getting aggressive. One thing that's important here is we go ahead and attack for 3 damage, then play the Babbling Brook, which will disable our minions, and then we can cast the Cat on our opponent's side because they are playing water spells, and now they have quite a bit they have to deal with here. Now we don't have any of our combo cards yet. We are missing the Sylvan Splendor, but so that's kind of what we're hoping and hunting for right now. Drums of Doom also will feel good. But because of the Babbling Brook, our opponent has to play their charge minion in the back row and can't really attack with it. There's not a place that they can move. And so really it just ends up becoming a blocker, and the Cat is able to strike down and get rid of that charge minion. Now they are able to put then a couple of threshold in their graveyard to be able to use the Flamecaller's ability. But not without us able to take them down to 6. And here I thought the Flamecaller was the aggressive deck, but we're getting into the whole bunch of 1/1 beasts. Now this Manticore is pretty strong here and might be tough for us to deal with. And so now we're kind of looking over, all right, how are we going to be able to deal with this? We attempt to attack the Lighthouse for 4, and then we're able to swing in with the Tawny, and then actually summon back a Tawny by playing a Sight down. And then we play the Horn and give everything charged nearby. And we're able to start attacking here. And that can just be the power of these little 1/1s. They're hard to remove. There's a lot of them. So our opponent's really looking for a Poison Nova to be able to stay in this game. Red Cat Prowess comes down and is able to deal with our Snow Leopard. Now our opponent's at 8. We tapped to draw a sight here. We could flip. So maybe something that could have been interesting is taking a step forward, and then we could flip, give charge to the Bruin because of the horn. Yep, and I was debating on, hey, you know what? Actually, I can use the Owl's ability to cast it back there, but in order to attack, I do have to cast that on the Hamlet. Ruler of Thule would be a pretty awesome card to get in here. Our opponent, because all of our airborne minions around, not going to be able to do too much. However, the Flame Wave coming down is going to be able to kill all my minions, including theirs, but it does bring them down to death's door. Now they're going to have quite a few threshold in their cemetery now. They're going to be able to potentially hit us for a lot. We do have the Sly Fox. We go ahead and tap and flip to get the Bruin. We're able to go ahead and move it up. Sly Fox coming down, and it'll also have charge thanks to the horn. It'll attack for 1. And now we're trying to pinch our opponent off here. Looking at our thresholds. Oh, we do have the second air. Okay. So once you have 2 of each, we're missing 1 for Browse if we were trying to cast a Browse here, but we have the Lighthouse in hand, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Our opponent playing their own Ruler of Thule here, and we're able to cast an Exile, shuffle that ruler back into our opponent's deck, and then we can feast for crows. And I'm trying to think of what we name here. Be great to get a spell out of our opponent's hand, but okay, so we just go ahead and call the Infernal Legion out. Oh, and they have double grapple shot Warhorse. And Infernal Legion has the 3 pips, and that's kind of why I named that card. Now they're not going to be able to play that, but they are able to play the Warhorse. Oh, and a Brother's Night Out. It's going to give them quite a few blockers that we're going to have to deal with. Swamp Buffalo is going to be tough for us to find something to do. We have stealth, so we can start walking towards our opponent, but our opponent's going to be able to kind of get in the way and fly away with the horse there, with the war horse. Now we're able to cast 7 frogs, and we can summon them kind of throughout the realm here, and that's what we're doing. But we still have to find a way to try to deal with that death blow point of damage here, and these 0 power frogs aren't going to be able to do that for us. Oh no, our opponent top stacks a Philosopher's Stone, not the best card to draw here. Attempts to attack for 3, we throw a frog in the way, they play a tower. Oh, and just have to pass. Thieving Magpie can steal that Philosopher's Stone, but we're going to try to cut off our opponent by walking a little bit closer. And I don't have a way to give it charge, unfortunately, so we just have to pass by playing the Airborne Magpie there. Able to fade, attack for 3, draw a card. The mix. How are they going to be able to get out of this mess? Oh, the grapple. All right. That'll take care of the Magpie. Give them, be able to stay safe from the stealth as well. But we draw the Blood Ravens have charge from the horn, and that'll finish off this game. Maybe could have left Warhorse back, but we're going to reset the board and we're going to get ready for game 2. See you here in a second. All right, game 2 of this Druid versus Flamecaller matchup. Not a ton of magic spells here, and so we're gonna go ahead and mulligan away the Merlin's Tower. But have the Sylvan Splendor, have a couple of beasts in hand, have our double water threshold. So feeling pretty good about that, and then Kelp Cavern now, and so we're going to be able to look at the bottom 3 spells, put one on top, and just a whole bunch of beasts. That's what we got. But that's going to be good for our Sylvan Splendor turns. We have a chance to be able to get a turn 3 Sylvan Splendor, but we're not going to have the Hamlet, so we're not going to be able to combo on that turn 3. Yeah, it would have had to been a Hamlet for us to been able to combo off on that turn. Able to look at the bottom 3 again, but they're basically all the same. More beasts. Able to fly the Tawny forward. Hamlet's kind of what we're looking for right now. Uh-oh. Browery's coming down here, hitting us for 3. We get the Observatory. Now, Babbling Brook is going to be able to slow down our opponent. We go ahead and attack for 1 with the Tawny. And I do a submerged pufferfish here. I do it submerged so they can't hit me. The Prowries is actually disabled right now because of the brook. So we are going to be able to come up and strike the... actually, they shouldn't have had to attack, because if they don't attack, they die. So Redcap Prowries actually should have died on their own without the attack. So actually a mistake by my opponent and I not to have caught that. We go to Tower, and okay, we're able to cast 1 spell and get in for 1. Now I cast that kind of far away so we can make sure we maintain a blocker, but our opponent with the Manticore able to swing in for 5 with that Philosopher's Stone discount. Now has Brothers Knights, and we'll see. We're in kind of a dangerous situation here. I'm thinking I could attack into one of the Brothers Knights, but then if one of them defends, yep, not going to be able to do too much to that. That was kind of ended up just being a misplay. Able to cast a Tawny, or get a Tawny back that can be a defender for the Sylvan Splendor. That's kind of what the goal is in case they grapple shot a Blood Raven. And now we have a couple of blockers still. Able to cycle through, draw a few cards. And right now we're just looking to throw power down on the board. I think I might have liked playing the cat a little bit more there, but there's a good chance our opponent could just go in with his lethal Manticore, kill it. We could chump, but I don't know if that's going to be a winning strategy long term. Oh no! Lose a few life from the Poison Well. Opponent keeps attacking in. We're at 2. Is going to try... Oh, can't come. Okay, decides not to attack with the Brother Knights. We stay at 2 for the turn. All right, thinking over what we're looking to do here, we decided to go ahead, flip the Druid, get a 4/4 blocker out, and a Bruin. We're going to cast the Owl. I'm putting it over there on the right just to show that it came down this turn and that I wouldn't be able to attack with it even if I wanted to. We'll have a Sir Tom Thumb come down as a blocker. And we have quite a few minions that we can attack with here. And so we go ahead and swing in with the Swamp Buffalo. Our opponent's going to be able to roll a dice and pick. And so we say 2, 4, 6 for the order. So they get a 3, discard the middle card. Observatory is down. We're going to play this game again. Odds is able to get the cat. So we did 3, I'm sorry. Yep, 4, 5, 6 was going to be the other card in my hand there. So we have 1 card left in hand. Able to attack in for 1. Throw out a minion to be able to stop projectiles from the Flame Caller. And we will have to pass turn. We do have a blocker in the Sir Tom Thumb. Hopefully that does not get removed here. All right, our opponent thinking over what's going to be the best play here. Plays a Disintegrate through the River of Flame, and that's going to actually banish the Sir Tom Thumb. And that's going to bring me to Door here. And there was a question, would Bruin stop sight damage? No, Bruin would not stop sight damage, only direct strikes to the Avatar. And so our opponent's able to swing in here, bring us to death's door, and this is not a good position for us to be in. We do not have any way to play these minions out for free. Ring of Morgan is interesting here with the Tawny. We go ahead and attack in with Tawny because it's that's the best that it's going to be able to do. And now the question is, do we hold the Ring of Morgan or do we play it? And originally I'm thinking I can play it on the Druid, but I have no spells that I can cast. So I just decided to go ahead and hold it. And we go ahead, pass it over to our opponent. Opponent looking to see how can they bring me to death's door. We have a couple of things to stop the projectiles coming across with these different blockers here. Opponent assigned just to go ahead. Plays the Raiders, but does not go in and attack here. If they would have attacked, they actually would have Bruin would have stopped the damage or taken the damage instead. And we are able to browse, look at the top 7. And this is where I realize Splendor will not trigger off of the Plague of Frogs. And so the question is, do we take the Drums of Doom to stop anything from entering my site? It would die right away. That's kind of what we're leaning towards here. The other option is take a minion to draw a random card in the deck. All right. So we went ahead, chose to draw the random card in the deck over the Drums of Doom. And so we are able to cast, and kind of the reason for doing that is because we have the Ring of Morgan on the Tawny. And so we're going to be able to draw some cards, paying for some damage, and that's exactly what we're going to be able to do here. And then we even draw the Cast into Exile to shuffle away our opponent's only minion on the field. Now we have a ton of blockers in the way. Our opponent is down to 4. And a swing in with Bruin will bring them down to death's door. And that's going to put our opponent on the back foot. Magpie is able to steal the Philosopher's Stone. That is our discount now. They only have 5 mana. No way to get that Philosopher's Stone discount. And our opponent's in a bit of a bind here. They need to deal lethal damage. Bruin is no longer nearby and will no longer be protecting the Druid. A lightning bolt here would finish off the game if they have it. But I don't think that there is anything they have right now to prevent the Ring of Morgan from closing it out. So Poison Well here is a loss of life. Our opponent passes. We draw a castable spell and get them with the Ring of Morgan. So that's going to wrap up this Druid deck here. Kind of Druid Beast combo. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.